The Last Jedi sucked. Because of course it did. What did you think? Did you think it was actually going to be good? Did you actually think that this new Star Wars franchise, spearheaded by the Disney Corporation, was going to be good? Did you really actually expect that? Now, no. I did not go watch The Last Jedi because I couldn't tolerate the idea of sitting through a 2.5-hour bore fest. A lot of people wanted me to go out and watch the movie and review it, but I just couldn't do it because I knew that it was going to suck dick. I mean, the first one was horrendous, and the following two films are obviously going to be a direct extension of the first story. And if the first story is just a bunch of corporate scripted garbage concocted by Hollywood executives in a boardroom meeting one day, then of course the whole trilogy is going to suck shit. So where do we even begin? The truth is that as the reviews flood in, the Rotten Tomato audience score is roughly 50-something%. That's right, the Rotten Tomatoes audience score for Star Wars The Last Jedi is 50-something%. These are people's genuine, fresh reactions as they come out of the movie theater. And what are their fresh reactions? This movie sucks dick! 2.5 hours worth of dick, for that matter. And, of course, if you go to Rotten Tomatoes, the critics score is like 93% fresh, and everyone's like, it's another wonderful installment in this, new era of Star Wars, this progressive new era of Star Wars. So again, I'm just reiterating for all you guys, I did not watch The Last Jedi because I knew it was gonna suck dick. And now it's basically unanimous. I mean, assuming you're not paid by Disney for a fake review, you probably think the movie sucked dick. And this isn't even just people because it's like a political thing or anything like that. It's just the average viewer was bored out of their mind, scratching their head, wondering what the fuck is going on. Oh, man. So even though I didn't watch The Last Jedi, I knew it was going to suck because I saw The Force Awakens. And if you guys have been following me for a while, you know that a couple years ago I did a Star Wars The Force Awakens review. And I walked out of the movie and people were so triggered. It's like 50% dislikes, 50% likes. People were so triggered. How dare you walk out? This movie is a triumph of the ages. And it stars a woman. And, it's great for young girls to look up to and all this dumb shit. And now as the hype settles, as I expected, people are slowly starting to realize, the first film was good only because it was like a carbon copy of A New Hope. Star Wars The Force Awakens was held only. It was propped up only by the fact that it was a copy of A New Hope. And people didn't realize at the time that they were basically watching A New Hope with a woman and a black dude as lead characters. They didn't know that it was basically the same thing, just politically correct for a modern era. And then it took a while. People were like, wait a minute, this looks a lot like A New Hope. And then it's like, people are like, oh my God, it's exactly the same as A New Hope. It is A New Hope. It's a fucking rehash. It's a remake. It's not part fucking, 7. It's part 4 all over again, remade. And so the hype settled and people realized that, wow, we got gypped. We got fucking scammed here, guys. And now look, people are not falling for the hype by the second movie. And I predicted, I don't think I ever said it publicly, but I always thought in my mind that by the third release of the part, what is it, 9? Yes. By the time part 9 comes out, the film is going to be a catastrophe. It's already looking terrible right now. 50-some% audience score on Rotten Tomatoes. It's a fucking catastrophe what's happening right now with The Last Jedi and this new trilogy by Disney. By the time the third one comes out in 2 years, the fucking franchise is going to be a laughing stock. And it's obvious. This new trilogy wasn't inspired by someone's genuine creative inspiration all of a sudden. You know, just no one woke up one morning from a fevered dream and they're like, oh my God, I just had this wonderful idea to reinvent the Star Wars trilogy, to reinvent the Star Wars franchise and bring it back to life because I just had this amazing new idea. And no. Disney is buying everything now. Didn't they buy 20th Century Fox or some shit like that like a few days ago? Like they're sucking. Disney is the new NFL. Disney is the new gigantic organization that's chasing dollars but not chasing passion and inspiration, and hence it's dying because it doesn't care about what made it great. The new Star Wars movies were concocted, okay? They were concocted by executives, Hollywood executives, scratching their head going, what's the next cash cow we can come up with to make tons of cash off gullible moviegoers? And then there it was. Bring back the Star Wars franchise for a new age. And indeed, it was for a new age. It was the age of Rey, the strong, empowered woman. What is that annoying vibrating sound? Like, stop vibrating, dude. Like, what is that? Is this car falling apart? Stop vibrating. I located the source of the vibration. All right. That's not helping. All right, hold up. I'm going to put you guys down for a second. We want good quality audio here, right? Right? I discovered the source. Tire pressure gauge rumbling around in the glove compartment. I discovered the source. Okay. So look, that's just the facts, guys. That's just the facts. Have any of you guys seen the new Star Wars, The Last Jedi? Did it suck shit dick? Did it suck sick dick shit? Real question. John Giovanni, good riddance, sir. Did it suck dick shit? Your opinions. They actually managed to make the other 6 films less than... Yeah. Looks like people aren't interested in watching it. It was horrible. They left main plot points unresolved. I heard about that. Ignored. It was a giant cringe fest. Yeah. The last SJW. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's just, I heard it was horrific. I heard it was absolutely horrific. And it's funny because, you know, apparently they paired the black dude up with the Asian girl. And apparently there were some people on Twitter who were angry that they paired the black dude with the Asian girl. So this is what happens when you pander to social justice warriors and the liberals. When you pander to the SJWs and the liberals, you never win. You can't win. I mean, there's a hashtag, Star Wars hates people of color. Like, you can't win, man. And that's the problem with the new Star Wars series. Number one is that they tried to pander to the politically correct paradigm. And you pay the consequences. And what's the consequence? You dilute and you dumb down a story. It can't take any risks. It comes off tame and uninspired. And in the end, they still put out the hashtag Star Wars hates people of color. Like, you can't win. And it's funny because that's another thing that I heard. People were saying, well, The Last Jedi, it takes risks. It takes risks. Like, that's all the people who were paid to do reviews for The Last Jedi. They're like, yeah, they're trying to agree with their viewers. Yes, the movie was awful, we know, but they don't want to piss off their sponsors, i.e. Disney. So they say everything. They're like, the movie was weird, but I loved it. But it had a couple of issues, but I loved it. And, you know, there were a couple of things that had me dumbfounded, but I loved it. And there are a couple of scenes that I didn't think should have been in there, but I loved it. And there were a bunch of plot holes, but I loved it. And I can't believe they had Princess Leia flying through space, but I loved it. And it's like, just admit it. You hate the movie. And you're trying to, like, pander to both your audience of real viewers and moviegoers and the people who pay you to make your fake reviews. So people were saying, oh, but it takes risks. So apparently now you have to like a movie because of the intention behind how it was made. It doesn't matter if the movie sucked. The fact that it takes risks is the reason you like it. Like, I can take risks and I can do a film that is just me taking a shit. It's just me crapping. And oh, that's so risky. Doesn't mean it's a good movie. It doesn't mean it's a good film. So that's the whole justification now for The Last Jedi. It took risks. Oh, it took risks, really? Compared to what? The Force Awakens, which took zero risk? Because it was a carbon copy of A New Hope. So that's the thing now. The first one was too safe. But now this one took risks, so you should love it. Because you guys complained that it was too safe, so now it took risks, and you better love it, or you're a sexist racist. And to the contrary, just because you take risks does not mean you get a little pat on the back. And because you know what, we're not getting refunds for our movie tickets. Now again, for anybody who's just tuning in, I did not watch the new Last Jedi because I couldn't stand the thought of sitting through a 2.5 hour bore fest to do a movie review. I'm sorry, guys. But here I am. This is the next best thing. And hey, everyone seems to unanimously agree now. People will say it at least disappointed or it was at least horrific. But most people say it disappointed. Of course it did. It's a hype machine, guys. It's a fucking hype machine. Yeah, actually, I did watch UFC yesterday. That was not your back, Chris. What the balls does that even mean? So I did watch UFC yesterday. Let's see. It included it was Rafael dos Anjos versus ruthless Robbie Lawler. Who doesn't like Robbie Lawler after that fight against what's his name, Rory McDonald at UFC 189? That was my first live UFC event that I saw. Not live in person, but I saw it live, you know, as it was happening on TV. What a fight. I mean, you watch that fight and you're, okay, it's Robbie Lawler versus Rory McDonald, UFC 189. Bam! In your face. Bam! What a fucking fight that was down. So I had to like reach over quickly and shut the phone off. So, man, let me tell you guys, man, what a fight that was. It was incredible. Like, it was, I mean, and I know that just because a fight is bloody doesn't mean it's a good fight, but it was a war. You saw these people engaging in a fucking war, and they put everything in it. And man, I hope Dana White gave them big fat bonuses in perpetuity for that. Pat on the back, but you patted your... Oh, thank you, I guess. Thank you. Sure. Sorry, I'm like quadruple tasking here. You know, if texting while driving is not legal, why are we allowed to do phone calls while driving? Why are we allowed to eat while driving? Why are we allowed to like tend to your crying child in the back seat while driving? Why are we allowed to change the radio dial while we're driving? You know, if texting while driving is so dangerous, why are we allowed to do so many other things, but texting gets demonized? I actually heard somebody say the other day that proportionally, statistically, the number of people who text while drive, because there's so many campaigns out there saying, don't text and drive, most people just text and drive anyways. It's just the truth. And I heard someone say that statistically, people choose to text and drive anyways, which is a huge number of people. The number of crashes should be much higher based on how much fear-mongering is put into the whole don't text and drive thing. If texting and driving was as dangerous as they say it is, and given the fact that so many people still text and drive, the number of vehicles should be much higher via texting and driving, but it's not, because apparently texting and driving isn't that dangerous. But the truth is, the problem isn't texting and driving. I've been saying this for years. The problem is being an idiot while texting and driving. You can eat a cheeseburger while you're driving and you're not going to crash. You can change the radio dial while you're driving and you're not going to crash. You can tend to your crying baby in the back seat and you're not going to crash. You can text and drive and you're not going to crash. The problem isn't texting. The problem is being an idiot while texting and driving. And the problem is that some people, and I would say these are the ones who are really getting into the crashes because of texting, they are staring into their phones. Why are people stopping in the middle of the street here? You morons. Texting, being an idiot while texting, driving, holding the phone up to your face like this and putting 90% of your attention onto the phone and only 10% onto the road, that's called being an idiot while texting and driving. That will get you into a crash. So it's called 95% of your attention on the road, 5% on your texting or feeding your child in the back seat or changing the radio dial or talking to your friend in the passenger seat or eating a cheeseburger. 95% of your attention has to be on the road. So it's just retarded. Well, was that a racist comment? We have a comment here. Why whites are afraid of black men? I don't know. Is that true? I thought black men and women in America were being systematically oppressed by powerful white supremacy. So isn't it the other way around? Aren't black men afraid of white men coming to kill them, shoot them, tase them, oppress them, take their jobs, take their money, leave them impoverished? Like, I don't know what the hell you're talking about. You might be a racist if you leave a comment like that. Newsflash, you might be a racist. Someone says, it's the really big dicks. They are a lot to take in. Well, assuming the myth is true, and, well, if that's true, then Asian men must be absolutely terrified of black men. Sometimes I wonder if the BBC myth is true, though. Sometimes I have a feeling it might be fake news. Might be fake news. I'm not going to get into that now, but I wonder if it's fake news. Someone says, I want to hear you rip this garbage apart. Well, look, if you just tune it in, I did not watch The Last Jedi because I couldn't stand the thought of sitting through a 2.5-hour bore fest. However, most people seem to be agreeing that the movie was at least disappointing, but most people say it was absolutely horrific. So I didn't go watch it, but hey, The Last Jedi sucked because of course it did. Why wouldn't it suck? Why wouldn't it suck? Star Wars The Force Awakens sucked dick. So of course, anything that's a direct extension of Star Wars: The Force Awakens is also gonna suck shit. So I knew it was gonna suck shit. Truth is, people were really hyped up for the Force Awakens 2 years ago. I got a lot of heat. I got a lot of dislikes. Something I'm very used to, but I also take quite a great deal of pride in being the person who says the unpopular thing and gets massively disliked and loses tons of subscribers. Only for a year and a half later, everybody comes back and says, "Oh my God, you were right. I was delusional." I take pride. I don't mind losing 1,000 subscribers here and there because I say something unpopular. And back when I made the Star Wars: The Force Awakens review, man, people were hating on me, man. It's like 50% likes, 50% dislikes. And they're like, "You sexist, you racist, you idiot, you fanboy," whatever. So, yeah, I mean, you know, I've kind of said all I wanted to say. I didn't watch the movie. I know it sucks because The Force Awakens sucked, and this one is a direct extension of The Force Awakens. But go online and look at other people's reviews who watched it. There's almost unanimous. Even mainstreamer type people who are normally fanboy shilling for Star Wars are saying it's garbage, because this time they want to be ahead of the curve. They want to be ahead of the curve this time. So now they're saying something that's not that unpopular. Someone says, "My wife married me for my big black dingo. 2 kids, more money, more land and opportunity. She's still here. Fooled her." Is your wife white, Asian, what, you know, black? What the hell is it? Though I have to say, I'm very proud of the size of my penis. I'm just saying, hey, I'm just saying, I'm very proud of the size of my penis. That's all I'm gonna say. So, I don't know, I had, you know, one black dude, subscriber of my channel, left a comment on one of my videos once. He said he had like a 4-inch dick. I don't know, man, I don't know, whatever. This is a random topic. I don't want to talk about this right now. I can't show you my private parts because then Susan Wojcicki will have all the excuse she needs to ban me permanently from YouTube. Hey man, sometimes the live chat steers you in an odd direction. Anyways, guys, you know, that's really all I had to say, you know. Maybe if I'd watched it, I could give you more in-depth analysis, but I can't. I will fall asleep during the movie. I know I will. So, there it is, guys. I just wanted to get that out there real quick. I guess I gotta go. I mean, I don't have anything else to say. I mean, do you guys have something to say? I made a great vid on net neutrality. Okay, go check out his video, I guess. I'll sit here and I'll do a little live chatting with you guys for a little bit. I'll do a little live chatting with you guys for a bit. Just give me a second. I'm gonna park off over here real quick. Just a little park off over here real quick. People are like, where the fuck is he? What is this alleyway? Right. Just gonna do a little quick park here so we can finish off our live stream. Alright. Find a nice, decent little spot. Good lighting. Reversing. Alright, we made it. Multitasking complete. Male porn stars use prosthetic penises. You should make a Pornhub and live stream naked. Someone writes, I loved The Force Awakens. Then I listened to you and I was like, damn, he's right. That's what got you a new subscriber in me. Well, you know, the crazy thing is, you know, it's almost like sometimes the experience and the rush of the film causes you to overlook in a more critical way why it sucked shit. And I got a lot of people who are like, yeah, you know, you're right about this. I didn't notice that. I was right about, you know. So it's just dumb. Like, people got so triggered because I didn't like the part in The Force Awakens where Rey and Finn, I think Finn is the name of the black dude, Rey and Finn are running away from the blasts, and then Finn instinctually wants to protect her because she's a woman. And she's like, don't hold my hand. I don't need you. She just starts running on her own. And I just knew it. I saw it. I'm like, this is it. They had to inject it in there. They had to inject the dumb horseshit into the movie. And that's exactly, let's see. Someone says I'm a white Cuban. He's a white Cuban. Yeah, I'm a Spaniard, lady. Nikki, that's even your real name. That's even your actual profile picture. I'm a Spaniard, okay? I'm a fucking Spaniard. I go to Spain. I speak Spanish. Yeah, I don't know. White Cuban, white Hispanic, all this shit. I don't know what the fuck you call it. I think Spain is mostly white-looking people. So white, I guess if you want to say white. I know Cuban is culture, not race, supposedly. So you can be a black Cuban, a white Cuban, whatever. I guess you could even be an Asian Cuban. That would be odd. I've never seen that in my whole life. I don't know, man. I don't care. I don't really give a shit. You are European. Spain are European. Okay, whatever. Everybody wants to own me. You ain't white, fool. Well, a lot of white people say I'm not white. So Europeans was kangs. You're welcome, Mary. Cameron Diaz is also a white Cuban. Really? I didn't know that. We was Vikings. You are white. White. Yeah, I've heard of the all-meat diet guy. Fidel was a white Cuban. I heard about the all-meat diet guy. I've also fucking interviewed Milk Jar, who eats nothing but meat, pretty much. And it's all raw meat. Unseasoned raw meat right from the fucking animal's fucking torso. He just stuffs his hand into the rib cage, rips the heart out, and starts eating it. Num, num, num. And he's like, yeah, we need some heavy metal music while I slaughter this thing. So, sounds like Satanism, but So, hey, man, as far as I'm concerned, if you're a proud meat eater, I don't mean meat eaters. I'm talking about proud meat eaters. Someone who takes pride in it and thinks, you know, they hate vegans and all that. If you're a proud meat eater, I can only take you seriously if you eat your meat raw, unseasoned, and for that matter, if you're killing and slaughtering it yourself. Now, technically, you don't have to kill it and slaughter it yourself. You just have to have the stomach to see it and do it yourself. If you don't have the stomach to see and kill and butcher the animal yourself before you eat its meat and its organs, raw and unseasoned, if you don't have the stomach to do it, I don't think you should be doing it. It implies that there's a contradiction. You're willing to eat something that the reality of it would make you vomit. There's a problem there. So I have nothing against meat eaters. Be a consistent meat eater. Slaughter your own animal. Kill it, slaughter it, and eat the meat raw and unseasoned. And hey, you're my best friend. You're my best friend. But you got to be consistent. Okay, you can't go crying over, you know, Rex when your doggy Rex dies. You can't go crying over Rex when Rex dies. You know, it's about inconsistencies. Any new shirts coming soon? Nah, man. I wouldn't eat meat from an animal if I saw the animal alive. Are you a vegan? You don't fit the cliched profile. No, I don't. And that's why I believe in veganism 2.0. Veganism 2.0. This is not limp-wristed veganism. Veganism 1.0 was limp-wristed veganism. It was, hey guys, like, you should stop eating animals because, like, you know, the animals. Like, no, we ain't, that's no. We're not veganism 1.0. This is veganism 2.0. You're anti-feminist. You know, you're anti the left, and you're a rational person. You try to be rational with your veganism. You point out that there's gray areas and there's loopholes. Like, you know, we're all gonna step on bugs. We're all gonna get into a plane, and then as the plane flies through the air, birds are gonna get sucked through the engine and get killed, and we're all contributing to this. We all have blood on our hands. This is veganism 2.0. Veganism for queers. You mean veganism 1.0? Yeah, I totally agree with you. So you're vegan because of health. I'm not vegan because of health. I'm vegan because and I'm not even 100% vegan. But I'm inspired. I'm aspiring to veganism because I don't like being logically inconsistent. I don't like being inconsistent in my own espoused values. There's something weird about having a cat and then, oh, my little cat died, and crying and getting so sad. There's something weird about defending my cat. There's something weird about caring for my cat. And if someone ever came and started torturing my cat, I'd fucking kill that person and protect my cat. There's something weird about creating little special bubbles for certain animals just because we like them on a personal basis, yet saying fuck all the other animals. I don't like being inconsistent. So that's why I liked veganism. But in my discussion with Milk Jar, he kind of helped drive home a point that the blood is on our hands pretty much no matter what we do. Now, I'm not 100% convinced yet that the blood is always on our hands. I think we could probably live in a world where all our food is created in a fucking laboratory using stem cells and no sentient beings are hurt. Now, is that some brave new world, highly sterilized world where our food is created in a fucking laboratory and we're not out there killing things, you know, and feeling primal? Maybe. The question is, do you like a brave new world of sterilized laboratory with no hurt, no pain, no suffering? Or do you prefer a world where things could be sloppy? You can have good days, you can have bad days. You can wake up and go to church on Sunday and then go out later and go fucking shoot animals dead and hunting and still think you're a good person. The point is about logical consistency. And look, I am not completely convinced towards veganism or towards anything else. I'm still growing and developing and learning as a person. So I don't really care. I'm working on it. I eat meat. I eat meat because I don't believe in slaughtering plants. Well, really, that would only be relevant if plants could feel. Thanks, Arthur. Do you think your incisors have a purpose? I really don't know much about the whole teeth thing, bro. Teeth, though. Why is your seatbelt on? I don't know. Habit. I don't know. Plants can feel. Studies prove it. Supposedly. No, I'm not wearing my Vibram 5 fingers, which you know are incredible. Venus flytrap wants to bite you. Do you know that the roots of a plant is their brain, right? Later, Rory. I'll only marry you if you're a woman. Still doing MMA training? Yes. I haven't been very consistent lately, unfortunately. But I really want to go 5 fucking days a week. MMA training, essential. Essential. Must learn to defend yourself in this world. Must learn to defend yourself. Must learn to defend yourself. Must learn to defend yourself. Yeah, man, I do a lot of jiu-jitsu. Rolling around, man. Learning the side control. Learning the fucking this. It's just so fascinating. It's like, I like to describe jiu-jitsu as like solving a Rubik's Cube in real time. But your body and your opponent's body is the puzzle. And it's just it's so fascinating. I love it. Yeah, I like the UFC. Star Wars cucks are triggered. Thank you for the super chat, guys. Let me see how this live function works. Does it let me see who's been giving me super chats? Huh. That doesn't seem to be working. Dude, what is this dumb shit doing? Get out of the way. We get it. Normal. Ah. Sorry, guys. YouTube's live app is... There you go. Fuck. Being a little retarded here. So where's the... Yeah, that's not working. Oh, well. Alright, sorry. Yeah, man. So look, guys, you just tuning in, man. We was pyramids. What's up? What's up? What's up? Hold up. We get like a text message here and shit. Is the world coming to an end? What's going on? Okay. Getting messages from people saying happy birthday. Like, I don't even remember my birthday when it's my birthday. My birthday is just another fucking day, man. Like, happy birthday. What do you mean? It's your birthday today. Like, wait, it's not my birthday. I was born, my birthday was 30 years ago. I was born, like, today's, I don't know, man. I just don't get birthdays, bro. You know, sometimes in the past years, I've actually forgotten, my age, but I'm 30 years old. Today, I'm 30 years old. I can't believe I'm 30 years old. Can you guys believe that I'm 30 years old? I've been alive for 3 decades. Yeah, man, I'm 30 years old. Yeah, people are surprised I'm 30. People think I'm 22 or something. I guess it's the good health. And the good health is, maybe it's caused by rejecting birthdays. when you come out and you say birthdays are dumb and Christmas is satanic, there's a certain consciousness perspective of the world. Honestly, I don't even think I look that young, so I don't know what people are talking about. I can totally see why I'm 30 years. I'm 30, bro. I'm fucking 3 decades old. Chris is aging like a Spaniard, olive skin. Nah, I never go to Poll or 4chan. I've never done that really. I watch a fair deal of Alex Jones, yeah. I've kind of stopped watching in recent, this year really. I watched it all day, every day, like during the election, of course. What was the worst thing about The Last Jedi? Well, for anybody just tuning in, I didn't watch The Last Jedi. And I didn't watch The Last Jedi because I knew it was going to suck. But really, I couldn't get myself to sit through a 2.5 hour bore fest. Now, people say, how could you judge a movie if you've never seen it? The Last Jedi is a direct extension of The Force Awakens. I fucking hated The Force Awakens at a fundamental level. There's pretty much nothing you can do in a sequel to make The Force Awakens good unless the sequel basically throws away and shits on everything in The Force Awakens. If you wanted me to like The Last Jedi, here's what you had to do. Rey had to turn out to be a completely incompetent Jedi. Completely incompetent Jedi. Later, Nikki. A completely incompetent fucking Jedi who sucked. Rey had to suck. Okay, this is the only way I would like The Last Jedi. You'd have to make Rey suck, and she would actually have to work hard to have any fucking talent whatsoever. I repeat, she would actually have to work hard to have any talent whatsoever. You'd have to start with that. But from what I heard, when Rey is on the stupidest island and Luke is there to enlighten her, like, she doesn't, like, she's still overpowered as fuck. She's still this fucking Mary Sue character. So, it's a joke. It's a joke. And someone please tell me how this is empowering to young girls. Someone please tell me how it's empowering to young girls to have a female heroine, protagonist, main character in a Star Wars series who doesn't have to work to be incredible. Tell me how that's good for young girls. You know, people have this idea, it's a very short-term idea. Make the child feel good now, even if you have to delude them, and that'll somehow make them strong and empowered when they grow up. It's a self-esteem approach to raising kids. Tell your kid that everything they do is amazing, even if they suck shit. Just positive reinforcement. Just tell them they did so great. And that's kind of what Star Wars: The Force Awakens and this new re-upped franchise is basically doing with the female character. They're basically telling young girls that, like, you're amazing by default. And you don't even have to work. You're just going to be a fucking superhero, heroine, and you're going to go save the galaxy, and you're never going to have any real hardships. And it turns out, apparently, from what I heard, in the new Star Wars film, The Last Jedi, she doesn't even have, like, interesting parents. Rey's parents were like junkers. Rey's parents were like fucking heroin addicts who sold her for some cash so they can go do more fucking, you know, Star Wars heroin. Like, she doesn't even have an interesting background story to help explain why she's so overpowered and amazing. So again, people say this is a good role model for young girls. No, this is going to kill. This is going to destroy young girls. Because it's giving them false expectations. You know, there's this idea that you should delude children into thinking they're better than they are. That's terrible for children. That spoils them into thinking they don't have to do hard work to get good. And once you spoil them, it's going to take 30 times more effort and 30 times more internal will for them to summon the discipline to become great at a certain craft or a certain skill. So I don't think it's good. People just want to make the kid feel good now, but they don't want to give the hard, tough love now, which is actually going to empower them. They will thank you in 10 years for the tough love. But it seems some people, they have trouble, and I don't mean this in a judging way, but it seems some people have trouble dishing the truth out to people because they don't want to hurt their feelings now. But you have to understand that hurting their feelings now is so that they can have long-term happiness. And I think if you really cared about a person, you'd be the one person that sat them down and told them the hard truths they needed to hear. If you really wanted them to be happy in a lasting, long-term way. But people just want to, people are afraid, they don't want to rock the boat. And you know, I think if you don't care enough about a person to rock the boat, to tell them the truth that's going to help them, maybe you don't care about them that much. So that's the thing with The Last Jedi and The Force Awakens, is this overpowered Mary Sue character where Rey can do anything and everything she wants. She doesn't have to work hard. She doesn't have to go through any real hardships. And people would say, well, that's because that's a good role model for young girls. You can do anything. You can't do anything. Like, yes, you have... You know, it's not... Maybe they're not teaching young girls that they can do anything. Maybe they're teaching young girls that they can do everything. And that's the problem. You can do anything. It's good to have a you can do anything mentality. It's good to believe that anything is possible. So you don't limit yourself to certain things that might seem impossible, but actually were possible if you just tried. But when you tell people that you can do everything, you're telling them, all right, sorry, I'm back. Are you guys still there? Yeah, live stream cut off. Sorry about that. I should be back now. What if someone gave you a free ticket to go and watch The Last Jedi? I mean, it's just 2 hours of my life wasted, man. Sorry, guys. I'm back. Shit cut off. Anyways, so as I was saying before the live stream got cut off, as I was saying before the live stream got cut off, so yeah, I think you shouldn't believe that you can do everything, and that's what feminism is doing to women nowadays. It's telling women that they can be everything. You can be a feminine woman who submits to a man and has and takes in his seed, his sperm seed, and then you in the soil of the egg of your womb, you harvest another life and you give birth to a child. And then once you shit the child out in 9 months, then you can fucking ignore him and then go be a single mom and go work at the job and be empowered because you're working for another man and making a bunch of green pieces of paper that you know deep down is not really making you happy. So, I don't know. It just seems weird to me. Like, if you're gonna hold the baby in your belly for 9 months, putting that incredible feminine energy into nurturing and developing and harvesting and creating a human life inside of you, why not just continue what you're innately good at a basic biological level and continue to nurture and bring up the child and raise the child? I don't care what a woman does with her life. If you're a woman and you don't want to have kids, I don't give a fuck. I'm not going to stop you. More power to you. Go do whatever you want. My problem is when the feminist movement, which is backed by big establishment corporate interests who need more and more human beings to work at the job to keep the stupid money-making machine running, there's so much propaganda for feminism out there. There's so much propaganda for feminism out there that it's creating this disproportionate delusion in women, thinking that it's somehow shameful to just want to do what feels right to you intuitively, emotionally, and biologically. So teaching young girls that they can be everything is bad. Teach them that they can be anything. That's good. It's good to have an open mind to believe that you can be anything. Now, should you believe you can be an astronaut if you just don't have what it takes to be an astronaut? You probably shouldn't, but you also shouldn't cut that possibility off because you'll never explore it and you'll never know. So anyways, yeah, I mean, all this feminist propaganda in the new Star Wars movies is not pro-woman. It's pro-corporate establishment. All this feminist propaganda in the new Star Wars movie is not pro-woman. It's pro-corporate establishment. The corporate interests need women being empowered and strong and not needing a man, so the women become good consumers and they become good worker slaves. Is a woman actually happy being a worker slave to get a paycheck so she can use the money to go to the mall once a week and buy a bunch of stupid, useless material goods? Is that truly happiness for a woman? I'm sure there's plenty of women out there who love it. I think there's a lot of women out there who probably don't like it. And it's a shame that the system would ever make them feel ashamed for not wanting to get sucked into that corporate rat race. So, no, I haven't seen that. Sorry, my hand's falling asleep. Anyways, guys, so that's basically all I have to say on the topic of someone says slurp on McGregor jizz. Elaborate, I don't know. Let's see, homeboy here, Brother Kalev, says Force Awakens was a feminist dream. Horrid to watch the propaganda. It's gonna be fun. Society collapse, women starving to death, period. Blood everywhere. Man, you got pretty intense there. But people say, but Rey, yeah, well, Rey, the female character in The Force Awakens, was just that. She was an overpowered Mary Sue character who was supposed to be, you know, Mrs. Empowered, and it's just made her a cardboard, one-dimensional idiot that no one cares about. They turned the Force into magic. Well, guys, thanks for tuning in, y'all. Appreciate your attention. Appreciate your interest. The Force was magic before bacteria. You know, I want to touch on that real quick. In the original Star Wars, Episode 4, 5, and 6, the Force was a magical force. It didn't have any real explanation to it. You didn't really know what it was. It was a magical force. And there was something that inspired the mind and the soul when you heard about the Force in the first, in Episode 4, 5, and 6, the first Star Wars that was ever released. There was something about the Force that inspired you. But then in the prequels, something happened, right? In the prequels, something happened. In Episode 1, 2, and 3, they introduced the topic of mitochlorians, I believe they were called. Mitochlorians. And what's crazy is the mitochlorians in Episode 1, 2, and 3, it was an attempt to mechanistically explain the Force. Mitochlorians. Mechanistically explain the Force. A lot of people were annoyed because the scientific, physicalist, mechanistic explaining of the Force took the wonder out of the Force. The Force was inspiring and magical because it seemed to defy the laws of physics. But unfortunately, it seems the original Star Wars Lucas vision got hijacked by the establishment. Now, I don't know if it really did get hijacked by the establishment. I don't know if there was like an Agent Smith. I don't know if an Agent Smith one day, you know, patted Lucas on the back, gripped his shoulder and said, come into this room with me here, Lucas, sat him down at a table, like an interrogation table, just like in The Matrix. And I don't know if this Agent Smith told Lucas, you know what? The Force is too inspiring. The Force, your films, they surpass everyone's expectations of success. We had no idea that when you released the original Star Wars trilogy, it would change culture forever. And you know what? This concept of the Force, it is inspiring too many young kids to think that anything is possible in the world. It is inspiring too many young kids to have a hopeful, optimistic, there are no limitations kind of mentality. You know what, Lucas? We can't have that. In the prequels, you got to introduce something called metachlorians or midichlorians, whatever the fuck they're called. You got to introduce the midichlorians. And the reason is the midichlorians are going to give a physicalist, mechanistic explanation for the Force. So now the Force is no longer a non-causal, non-physical, truly unlimited, magical thing that inspires the soul and the mind. Now the Force is just another mechanism, another physical process trapped within the confines of cause and effect. And if you guys think about it, causality, which is closely tied to this mechanistic physicalist worldview, cause and effect, causality is predeterminism. Causality has nothing to do with free will. Causality is a slave mentality. Causality is the idea of cause and effect. It's the idea that you are the byproduct of something that came before you. In the grandest sense, in terms of the cosmos, it all began with the Big Bang, and then that set the trajectory, the predestined trajectory of the billiard balls of particles in the universe, hitting each other, bouncing around, cascading everywhere, and gradually forming. But the overall physicalist view is that we are slaves to predeterminism. We are slaves to cause and effect. We are slaves of causes that came before us, and there's nothing we can do to change it. So anytime somebody proposes something that is magical, what they're really saying by magical is that it's not physicalist. It's not a physicalist thing. It's not bound by cause and effect. It's not bound by any physical laws or rules. It can transcend that. That's why the Force was the Force. The Force was the Force because the Force allowed you to do things that defied logic, that defied the physical world of restraints and limitations. The physical world where when Luke Skywalker is in the swamp with Yoda and he's trying his best to free his mind. Free your mind, Neo. He's doing his best to free his mind and lift the X-Wing out of the swamp with his own mind. If I recall, those are the exact ways that it turned out. I believe it was Luke who ultimately lifted the X-Wing out of the swamp. It might have been Yoda. I can't remember. But either way, the point remains. He was trying to free his mind. He was trying to believe that anything is possible. That the Force is real. So it's very interesting that the Force, which is something that relies on you lifting all sense of limitations. You have to believe it. You have to free your mind to access it. It's funny that in the prequels, the Star Wars prequels, you no longer have to suspend disbelief. You no longer have to believe in the impossible. You no longer really have to free your mind because now there's the midichlorians. And it's a purely mechanistic, physical explanation for the Force. And of course, you know, I would argue physicalism is a disempowering worldview. Physicalism teaches slavery. It teaches that you are a slave to forces beyond your control that you cannot change. Which is why I believe that the mainstream scientific physicalism, it gets so much support and backing from the establishment. Because the establishment wants you to believe that you're a slave, that you are a victim of forces beyond your control. So, hey, did this whole midichlorians explanation, was it like a fucking boardroom Hollywood executive meeting and the, quote, Agent Smith showed up and says, nah, the force is too magical, man. You got to kill that. We don't want young kids growing up watching movies that make them think anything is possible and that free will exists. We got to shut that fire, that flame in their souls down. Midichlorians, physicalism, cause and effect. It's all mechanistically explained. Anyway, so so yeah, I wanted to elaborate on that because I've thought about that for like a couple years now, ever since I heard about the midichlorian thing. Later, D-Train. Anyways, guys, thank you all for watching. We shall return. We shall be back for another live stream soon. Thank you all for tuning in. Thank you to the super chatters who contributed. You guys are amazing. You guys helped make it happen. And okay, guys, have a good Sunday. I'll talk to you guys soon. If you're gonna go watch The Last Jedi, hit me up on Twitter and let me know what you guys thought about it. Later, guys.